So hello and good evening. Hope you are well. We are definitely live on our YouTube. Karibuni sana. As is our custom, Sincere. Sincere is one of our very loyal members. Sincere, how are you? Are you able to unmute?
Okay.
You're good?
Yes, I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you for trusting us. You can pray for us. Are you able to pray for us?
Not today, next time.
Next time, okay then. Okay, then I'll pray. I can pray. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. Thank you for your goodness and faithfulness. Lord, as we begin this session, we invite you to be with us. We ask that you guide us and lead us. And for those that are still joining us, we ask that you quicken and hasten their steps, that we will be together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. So welcome. Karibuni sana. Today's topic is interesting, and you'll allow me to pull up something here to share. Ben Victor, karibu. Wanjiro, karibu sana. I see Patrick as well, and everyone else. Thank you very much. So we'll straight on go to what I need to share so that we kick off. Allow me to admit Jay. Jay is one of our guests today. Hi, Jay. Hello, Jay. So I hope you can hear me. Ben Victor, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you.
I can hear you as well.
Oh, good, good.
Joining the video, the app was updating. Kidogo tu will be there.
Okay. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Karibu sana. So we kick off. We've just begun. So allow me for the, in the interest of those that are joining us for the first time, to just introduce Conversations with Esther. Conversations with Esther is an impact-driven media platform that informs, educates, and rebuilds mindsets to ignite ethical practices within organizations and the community. That is what drives us as Conversations with Esther. Now, Conversations with Esther provides a professional, safe space speaking to matters affecting the workplace, social circles, and overall mental wellness. Patrick, I know, is on the call and he will confirm this. I am a mental wellness champion, and especially in the workplace. We are guided by our three values: integrity, excellence, and impact. Conversations with Esther envisions a world transformed by candid conversations, respectable relationships, and the goodwill to make every effort count. So those are our handles. You can follow us, subscribe to our YouTube, Conversations with Esther Katiba. Our LinkedIn is Esther Katiba, and Instagram is Conversations with Esther Katiba. Now, allow me to make this announcement. We have an upcoming event, and this is an event that you cannot afford to miss. You and your loved ones and your colleagues and your neighbors cannot afford to miss this event, branded Coping with Loss and Grief, on the 7th of October 2023, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, the entire day, we will be at Nairobi Children's Park, Nyerere Road. We will have psychologists on site. We will have businesses on site. And I know most of our partners are on the call. I'll be giving them a minute each. I wanted to look at what is on the side. The message: grief is like the ocean. It comes on waves, ebbing and flowing. Sometimes the water is calm and sometimes it is overwhelming. All we can do is learn to swim. Now, when we talk about grief, we not only talk about the loss of a loved one, we talk about grief in terms of loss of your job, and that's why we have JCVs on the call. We talk about loss of your business, your relationships. Chiromo is on the call. We talk about different losses. So when we talk about this, we are talking about different kinds of loss and grief. Now, for this, I will allow our partners, Patrick from Chiromo, you can say hi. Because
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Esther, for the opportunity. I'm glad to be on this call today, just to share knowledge and also to hear views from other participants. So thank you very much, Esther, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Chiromo has been our partner all the way, and especially on mental wellness. And I salute you, Patrick, and the team. Thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Is Lucy on the call? Lucy Mutuku. Is Lucy Mutuku on the call? Lucy Mutuku is the CEO of the National Youth Caucus. I don't know whether she's on the call yet. Scholar Media, Ben Victor, you are our partners on this one. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you so much for the chance. I'm Ben Victor Macau, editor, Scholar Media. Scholar Media, we are a media company based in Nairobi. We are headquartered in Nairobi. And we cover positive success stories and innovations from across the continent, especially on matters, technology, climate change, education, and all that. We have a bi-weekly newspaper, which is called the Scholar Africa, and we also have a vibrant website, scholarmedia.africa. And our partnership with Conversations with Esther is meant to amplify what she is doing and also tell the message to more ears. And we have already told several stories about the same, and we are willing to continue doing more. And again, maybe I would like to note that it's a mutual benefit, just as we do with other organizations, echoing their efforts and their what they are doing, and we publicize them. And so they also publicize us by having our logo on their posters, and we really appreciate that, and we are open to more partnerships. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben Victor. And I know just for the benefit of everyone on the call, we have your team. Wanjiro, you're on the call, I know. Wanjiro is on the call. Hi, Wanjiro.
Hi.
Hi, Wanjiro is from Scholar Media. So they're covering this actually, and there will be a story after this for this session. Asante sana, Wanjiro. I don't know whether Lois made it to the call. Still from Scholar Media. They've been our great partners. Thank you very much. Jay, I know I'll be giving you space at the end, but you can tell us, you're our partner in this event. Tell us more.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Esther, for this opportunity. And I'm so keen to learn here and also share my knowledge on how just to curb issues to do with the stressful workplaces. And I think I'll be sharing more at the end of the session while I introduce my company. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Jay is, I call him my kid bro. Jay is my kid bro, so where I go, I carry him with me. But if you want your CV done, please look for Jay. If you want your CV polished and done, look for Jay. He's a guru of CVs in the HR platforms. Now, today we speak on a topic that is close to my heart. Workplace stressors to watch out for. Workplace stressors to watch out for. I'll encourage us to engage on the chat as we continue discussing. Have you Have you been stressed in the workplace? Let's have candid conversations on the chat. Have you been stressed, and what kind of stressors have you encountered in the workplace? Let's engage for a minute or so on the chat. Let us engage on the chat a minute or so. Have you faced workplace stress, and what kind of stress was that? Let's speak to each other on the chat. I want to see where we are. You can put in a yes or no. If you're lucky enough, you may not have been stressed. I want to see. Yes, yes, yes. I have been very stressed as well at work. Yes. And I like this conversation because I have personally also gone through toxicity in the workplace. So when you see us talk to you, sometimes we talk out of experience and we know what we are talking about. So this is very common, very, very common, and people are going through tough times in the workplace. I mean, the workplace is becoming almost unbearable. And that's why conversations with Esther will keep speaking to candid issues in the workplace. Let's speak to real issues that people are facing in the workplace. Now, look at this one. There are wounds that never show on the body that are deeper and more hurtful than anything that bleeds. I read that again. There are wounds that never show on the body that are deeper and more hurtful than anything that bleeds. And some of these wounds are inflicted in the workplace. Somebody just passes by and says something that hurts you, or somebody just behaves in a way that hurts you. Could either be sexual harassment, it could be just words that hurt you. There are wounds that never show on the body, but are very deep and hurt more than anything that bleeds. So as we go into this conversation, let's be very open and honest with ourselves. I will go into this one. I'm never able to have conversations on the workplace without mental wellness, because I am a mental wellness champion in the workplace, especially. And Patrick will confirm that. Now, according to World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope. Number one, if you're writing down, write down to cope with stresses of life. It means that you will be stressed in life. Stress is not all bad. So just being able to cope with the stresses of life, realize your abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to your community. Now, over 50%, according to World Health Organization, over 50% of the world's population is actively working, and most of them are on this call. Actively working. 15% of working adults live with a mental disorder. As we go on, we are looking for ourselves. We are looking for where we are. We are among the 50% of the population that is actively working. 15% of working adults live with a mental disorder. And Patrick will tell you that it is confirmed that out of 4, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4 people, one of them is living with a mental disorder. So sometimes we do the exercise when we are speaking to corporates, because I do mental wellness conversations in corporates, and we say, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then out of the 4, one of them is living with a disorder. So we are quite a number on this call. I leave it at that, but it is important that we accept that there are challenges, there are stresses in life. There's anxiety, there's depression. Next, it says, World Health Organization says 12 billion working days are lost every year to depression and anxiety alone. leave alone any other stressor. But just depression and anxiety, in 1 year, 12 billion working days are lost. So you see that stress and anxiety affects the workplace. And it is not anything that we can now be silent about. I am, of late, you might have seen me posting a lot saying mental health conversations are no longer a nice to have in the workplace. They are a must-have conversations. So if you see that 12 billion working days are lost every year to depression and anxiety, then this is serious. Depression and anxiety alone costs the global economy US dollar 1 trillion each year as a result of reduced productivity. So that tells you there's a very big issue. We need to address the issues of stress, the issues of anxiety, the issues of depression in the workplace. And this needs to be addressed in the presence of our managers, of the business owners, of our colleagues. And I thought about it and said, you know, when we speak about mental wellness in the workplace or mental health in the workplace, now people have confused this with mental illness, and there's a stigma behind this conversation. No, sometimes you want to bring someone into this conversation, and I'm getting a lot of calls from corporates of late. Esther, we would want you to come and talk about mental health in the workplace. Because a lot of organizations have not normalized these conversations. They've not been able to create a safe space where an employee would walk into the HR's office or the manager's office and say, I am not in the right state of mind to continue working for today. Can I take a break? You know, it could be the stresses in the workplace. And I looked at this and said, you know, it's important for us to put this up. I think we've done the definition of mental health, but I want us to look at the indicators. I will not look at the mental illness. Maybe Patrick is a professional. He is the one that could possibly speak to that. But I want to look at the indicators of good mental health. Good mental health. Now, resiliency to stress, empathy, flexibility, spirituality, optimism, stable relationships, productive behavior, respect for self and others, sense of confidence, sense of belonging, ability to take care of self and others, clear thinking, sense of well-being and contentment. Now we need, and as we are how many? We are 21 on the call. 21 on the call would mean 21 families, 21 future generations, and the multiplication goes down. 21 companies here represented, 21 bosses or business owners. I will ask that we normalize conversations around mental wellness in the workplace. Now, Patrick, I know I'm putting you on the spot. As a psychologist, Patrick is a clinical psychologist from Chiromo. Patrick.
Yes, Esther.
In a minute, as we go into the stressors, talk to us about mental health and mental illness in 1 minute. Just give the difference, because I have seen this stigma in the workplace. When you start talking about it, it becomes a big issue. When someone says, I'm not in that in the right state of mind to do this, or the stress is too much, or my boss has pushed me to the corner so much, I am not productive. Just in a minute, speak to it from a professional perspective.
Okay, thank you, Esther, for the opportunity. Looking at the slide which is currently being projected, we are looking at mental health versus mental illness. So when you're talking about mental health, everyone, including myself, we have mental health. But not everyone has mental illness. So when you're looking at mental illness, we are looking at 3 main areas of a human being. Number 1, we are looking at their behavior. Number 2, we are looking at their thoughts, what they are thinking. And number 3, we are looking at their emotions. So when you are looking at these 3 aspects of a human being, one is really affected because of the 2. I know I'm using a bit of jargon, but allow me. When you're talking about mental illness, one thing is key: behavior change. So you can imagine this person at the workplace has already had some drastic behavior change. This person is struggling with a mental disorder or a mental illness. So when we are making a diagnosis of a mental illness, it requires a bit of time for us to be able to be very sure that we are dealing either with depression, or we are dealing with anxiety, or we are dealing with the last in the spectrum, which is schizophrenia, again, jargon. So anytime within the workspace, when you notice someone has behavior change, that's already a red flag. So we need to normalize the conversation around mental health, so that when someone approaches you as a person that I'm struggling, you don't push them away. Last thing, which is related to mental illness, there is a lot of people dying by suicide. Reason being, the workspace is not safe for them. Because we spend how many hours in the work area? 8 hours. So like a third of our 24-hour is spent within the workspace. So you can imagine the pressure that you have within this same place that brings food to your table. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you. Thank you. For those on the call, you realize that Patrick did not say commit suicide. You know, we hardly get to we are used, Patrick, to say someone committed suicide. Patrick, as a professional, said dying by suicide. The same way you do not commit diabetes, you don't commit what else, any other sickness. It is dying by suicide. I had to unlearn, and I'm still trying to unlearn saying that people committed suicide. It is not, they say, the professionals say the right way to say it is dying by suicide. So I hope that that's a good lesson. Now, looking at this, I know common workplace stressors. We're looking at that gentleman, and the message just behind him says, I'm done. And I know we've been there. If you've not been there, maybe just wait, it's coming. But we've been there, you know, said, I'm done. I am resigning. I'm exiting. I can't take it anymore. I can't work with this boss. I mean, it is toxic. I mean, that's a common language that we have now. It is toxic. This is it, you know. So let's look at what are the common workplace stressors. Organizational culture. If I asked you to define, maybe on the chat, let's go back to the chat. Today is a very engaging conversation. And if you feel like you need to ask a question, please raise your hand in between. Today we are having a candid two-way conversation. So when we talk about organizational culture, what do you think? What do you think is is in your culture? If you're working in an organization, what exactly defines the culture in your organization? Let's just engage on the chat. What defines any word? I mean, let's just be free. What? Mm-hmm. You can just type in dress code. Yes, good. Thank you, Anne. Let's keep the conversation going. Whatever you feel defines your culture in your organization, or in your business, or in your workplace. Attitude, yes. Office gossip, wow. People and traits, yes. Good, let's keep that coming. But when we talk about culture, definitely first we talk about the stories. You know, Peter Drucker says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Definitely, he goes on to say that it doesn't mean that strategy is not important, but you can have the best strategy in your organization. You can have the best. But if your culture is toxic, if your culture is not in place, even your strategy will not take off. So you need to fix your culture before you can even go to design your strategy. Someone needs to mute, I think so. If you allow me, I'll need to check. Thank you. So I'm talking about the culture, you know, the elements that define your organizational culture. And I like what has gone on to the chat, you know, the dress code, the gossip, the traits, how people behave in the workplace. Number one is the stories around your workplace, you know, stories of people that are within and people that have left the organization, you know. There's the information and the message and the stories that they carry about the organization. I don't know whether you have spoken to anyone when you want to join an organization and maybe you've applied for a job and you speak to somebody. One time I called a friend and there's an organization that I wanted to apply for a job, and the first thing he said is, join them at your own risk. So that defined to me the culture of that organization. And to be honest, I didn't even put in my application. So the stories, what people say about the organization, that's number one. Number two is the rituals and the routines, how things are done in the organization. There's a correct way of doing things in different organizations. You walk into conversations with Esther and know that if I do things this way, it's the right way, but you move into CVs and the same thing is not accepted in that organization. So just get to understand how things are done, the routines and the rituals in an organization, the symbols, the logos in an organization. I know we hardly sometimes even both about the logo. Look at the logo, look at the dress code, like we've been told, you know, look at the ambience of the organization. You walk into some of the modern offices and you know this is an easy environment, you know. So that also defines the culture of an organization. The power structures, the pockets of power, where are decisions made, who makes the decision? Is it the top that only makes a decision? And you will find in some organizations, you cannot move. You're actually stranded in anything you want to do because there's only one person that makes a decision, either maybe on finances, on something, but that defines the culture of the organization. There's the structures, the organizational structures. When you're joining an organization, it's important for you to understand or to maybe even have a look at the organizational structure. The organizational structure tells you clearly how things are done, you know, who makes decisions and who you report to and who you cannot maybe overtake or make decisions against. So you need to watch on the structures and get to understand where decisions are made. And finally, the control systems, whether it's quality control, whether it is financial control systems, reward systems, you know, that defines the culture of an organization. Number two, change management can be a stressor, you know. I have said number one, the culture can stress you, so you need to understand the culture when you get into an organization. Because some of the organizations you get into, you begin to feel, I'm not comfortable with the way decisions are made. I'm not comfortable with the processes and how things have been done. I'm not comfortable with the stories in the room. Now, change management is a big stressor. Because if in an organization, nobody informs you about changes, you wake up and find yourself in a different department, you wake up and find yourself reporting to a different person, you wake up and find the CEO or some of the senior managers have left, nobody has communicated, you know, you're reshuffled, you're transferred to a different region, nobody has communicated. That is a big thing. It can cause a lot of stress in the workplace. So if you're on this call and you're a manager, you're a leader, please ensure that when you're making any changes in the organization, be careful to communicate clearly and even give people time and space. You know, I have seen organizations where people will be relocated and the family, they don't even have time to talk to the family members. It's a big stressor. it's a really big stressor to the employees. Trauma could be, especially people that work in manufacturing. I have dealt with people that have gone through trauma for quite a long time. It is important for us to normalize these conversations in the workplace, especially if there's an accident in the workplace, things that happen, the loss of a colleague in the workplace can bring you trauma. So let's know how to deal with the issues that cause trauma. And people have different capacities to handle stress. So let's manage trauma well in the workplace. Role conflict, HRs in the room, kindly make sure that there's clarity of roles. I can get very stressed if someone on the call here who could be maybe Jackie or someone else or Jennifer is doing what I am doing. You know, we can't seem to get clarity on our roles. Let's make sure that there's clarity of roles. It brings a lot of conflict, and that ends up in stress. Lack of support. Employees come into the workplace expecting to be supported, and especially let me speak to new joiners in an organization. I have seen organizations that almost set you up for failure. You know, you're expecting to be, they expect you to know where things are and you're new. They expect you to know how to maneuver around a new work environment. I think that's quite unreasonable. It is important for employees to get the support they need. And it's not just in the performance of their roles, it's support even in their personal issues. We spend so many hours in the workplace. So if I am going through a hard time and I get no one to support me, then it becomes a stressful place. So let us be careful to support our colleagues. Now, poor management practices. This is the main thing. Poor management practices. Number one, micromanagement. Now, if you're the boss or the manager that must be on my laptop to see if I have typed in everything well, if I have submitted the report, if I have, you know, it's choking, for lack of a better word. It is very choking for anyone to be micromanaged. I keep saying, when you hire an adult and you hire a competent person. Please trust your teams. Now, lack of trust is another one. A poor management practice, lack of trust. When an employee sees that they are not trusted, they can't be trusted with the work, they can't be trusted with the money, they can't be trusted. You know, you hire a finance person, but you're still not trusting them with money. I think it becomes very stressful. Having favorites in the workplace is a big stressor. Managers, leaders, business owners, whatever position, team leaders, whatever position you have, avoid having favorites. It affects the rest of the people. Poor or lack of communication. And then we have punitive bosses. You know, their bosses are just wait for you to make a mistake and they punish you. It is very stressful because it instills fear. I keep saying respect is earned. Fear is instilled. Respect is earned, fear is instilled. Now, if you don't trust people and you keep punishing them, you keep, you know, they will keep fearing you. And the fact that people fear you does not mean they respect you. Let's not be deceived as leaders that because people fear you, they respect you. It doesn't go that way. Respect is earned and fear is instilled. Now, there are bosses that also love meetings, you know, time-wasting meetings. I have seen memes going around saying, you know, I survived a meeting, you know, I survived that meeting, you know, that should just have been an email, you know. If you don't have to have meetings, you can use emails to communicate. You can use other platforms and save time. So, and then there's toxicity and negativity in the workplace. So make sure if you're a leader, you are not that one that is negative and toxic to your teams. Unreasonable job demands. Please set goals that are achievable. If you want to stress your teams and stress them, set unachievable goals. It is very bad to set, setting your teams up for failure. Be careful when you're setting goals and having job demands. I know people will talk about work-life balance. Jay will confirm this. I know he's coming in shortly. We are no longer talking about work-life balance. We are talking about integration, So don't have unreasonable demands. You give your employees and your team members assignments at 4 p.m., an assignment that should take 4 hours, and you say, I need it at 5 p.m. That's unreasonable. And in essence, you're simply saying that employee needs to stay in the workplace until 10, which affects their personal lives, affects their families, affects even their performance the following day. So let's just be careful on how we do it. Allow me to bring in Jay. Jay, karibu sana. I know our time is gone. Karibu sana, but I know you will tell us what we should do if my job makes me unhappy. Karibu Jay.
Asante sana, Esther. Good evening once again. My name is Walemba Jay. I'm the CEO and founder of JCBs. We specialize in aligning job seekers to their career goals through CV revamp, career coaching, interview coaching, and so many other things related to HR, including HR 360 HR consultancy. So I'll be talking about how to manage workplace stresses. So
Jay, we want to see you.
You want to see me?
Yes, I've stopped sharing. People want to see the CV expert.
That is fine. So I'll be talking about a management of workplace stresses. And workplace stresses is something that in most cases we can't avoid. It just happens. It's challenging and we can't avoid it. We just have to live with it. And at some point now you'll have to quit if it means quitting will solve that problem. So the first point that we need to note is that we need to identify the source of these stresses. So if the stress is being caused by maybe your boss, is being caused by heavy workload or difficult co-workers, you need to understand the cause of this stress. Then if you understand the root cause for the cause of stress, it's so easy for you to be able to handle it. Number two, you need to set realistic expectations. Don't be overambitious. Don't expect what cannot happen in a workplace. So ensure that your workload and deadlines are very realistic. Don't set deadlines that are unrealistic because they'll also result into workplace stresses. Then another thing you need to do is to prioritize and organize your work. Always create a to-do list and make sure that you prioritize tasks based on their urgency and importance. Then also you need to consider the deadlines. Then number four, we talk about time management, whereby now you are able to manage your time wisely. You can even use online techniques like Google Calendar, Google Planner, just to make sure that you are able to improve your productivity to avoid burnouts. Then another thing, I was telling someone today that saying no is a complete answer. No is a complete statement. Learn when to say yes and learn when to say no. When don't overcommit yourself. Don't get into commitments that you feel might stress you as well. So saying no is a complete answer, and learn also to set boundaries. Then another thing is to seek support. When you feel that you're stressed, you can talk to your co-workers, friends, talk to family members about your stress. Then sometimes when you share these feelings and experiences, you end up getting emotional relief. Then on number 6, we talk about exercising regularly. physical activity as well is a very good reliever of stress. You can have short walks during lunchtime or during break time. They make a big difference in your well-being. Personally, I do walks every time at lunchtime because you get to work and you're seated there since morning from 7, you seated to around 1 or 5. So I get breaks at lunch. I just go out for a few minutes, then come back. It's very healthy. You end up managing your well-being. Then number 8 is seeking professional help. If workplace stress is severely affecting your mental health, you can consider talking to a therapist, like we have Patrick in the room. Consider talking to people like Esther Katiba, who is a mental health advocate, just to help you manage your stress and improve your productivity at your workplace. Then also learn on conflict resolution skills. If you're able to solve, if stress is related to conflicts with co-workers or supervisors, you can use your conflict resolution skills just to be able to solve the conflicts that you have within the team, and be able to learn and address those conflicts. When you solve the conflicts that workplace conflicts, you will be able to work stress-free. Then ensure that you can ensure that you take regular breaks throughout the workplace and make positive affirmations. This can help also improve your outlook and on work-related challenges. Then another thing, the most important thing is to consider change. If your workplace is consistently causing extreme stress and there is no improvement, it may be worthy considering a change in your job, in your workplace. So the best thing to do when you're considering change here is you need to have your CV ready. You need to have your profile ready, LinkedIn profile ready. You need to work as well on when I've seen most people apply for jobs that are not related to what their skills, that do not align with their skills. Most also are ambitious and they apply for jobs that tend to have higher qualifications than what they qualify for. So when you're applying for jobs, I always advise that you have a goal. You set targets that are realistic. We've talked about setting unrealistic targets, whereby unrealistic targets are those targets now that will get you into stress. So setting realistic targets will help you manage your stress well. And when you set realistic targets, you don't over expect. You apply for jobs that you feel you are qualified for. And at this point is where you also need someone, a professional in the career sector, just to help advise you on the best way to approach your job search, in terms of including having you advising on which strategies to apply so that you can land a job. Now, when it comes to strategies, now that is where we'll be talking about CV, alignment of your CV, cover letter, building your career, and also networking. It's very key that you include networking in your job search strategy, because statistics has it that 70% of jobs that we get or we learn through networking. Only 10% will be through third-party recruiters, and 20% will be through online applications. So you consider when you are planning to transition or change your career, considering moving from a toxic work environment, you consider trying to working on building your networks. And I know most of us will ask that I've seen some careers where people do not have a consistent network, maybe not even a WhatsApp group where they can share issues or related to the careers. So in HR, we always welcome other people to come on board just to understand and learn from us, and also build those networks that will be relevant in the job search. Just to finalize on that is that remember that managing your work workplace stress is an ongoing process and it may take time. So you need to find out strategies that can work best for you. You can as well try experimenting each process or each strategy one by one, just to be able to ensure that you choose the strategy that best works for you. And before you choose on considering change, make sure that 90% of us will quit jobs maybe before we get another job. Make sure that you're able to get, because that will also result at some point might result into stress. So make sure that you have a good plan when you're quitting, so that when you're considering change, so that now you don't end up again being another victim of mental disorder or mental illness. Esther, I think I had that short presentation.
Wow, that's very good. And I see someone asking, how do they contact you? Now, number one, I want to say we will definitely be having Jay. Jay, we will agree whether it's 13th, 20th, or 27th of September. We'll be hosting Jay to speak to us on CVs, job search, and networking. And Jay, you forgot to say that you also host the HR coffee.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I do host HR coffee, and the last one we had about 500 people attending. So we're looking forward. We're planning another one for the end year, where we're looking forward to about 1,000 people attending as well, HR professionals. And we also welcome other professionals just to be able to meet with the HR professionals in this industry. It's so easy when you apply for a job where you've been referred, than applying for a job where you know someone, than just applying blindly. So make use of these forums, make use of these networking events, and grow your career. So I'll be sharing my number on the chat.
I think someone has even helped you, shared your number already.
Thank you.
Or I hope they did not share the personal one, but it's still okay. 0725912186, right?
Still okay. It's still okay.
Yes. So
Yeah.
please keep in touch with Jay, and that's why Conversations with Esther is important for you and your people to attend, because when we bring in professionals, we allow you have access to them, and we allow you access the services they give. It's now 4 minutes to time. I don't see any question. I just see, Patrick says the best way to deal with stress is self-care. Yes. Learn to take care of yourself. I keep saying self-care is not selfish. If you feel you need to treat yourself, treat yourself. If you need to do something for yourself, please do. Go to the gym, as Jay has also said. I want to look at this. Okay, yeah, I think that has been answered. Yes, Jay has shared 10. Scholar Media, you want to share your contacts or the links? Is Ben Victor still with us? I know he had another meeting.
No, he's left.
He's
I'm
left.
gonna
So
share it. Yeah.
okay, so you can share your links. Patrick Chiromo, feel free to just share as we get to the close. And I know Chiromo also, Patrick, talk to us about the self-assessment. I think that's important so that we close with that.
Okay, thank you, Esther. We have some self-assessment tools that will help us to figure out, are we struggling with a mental disorder, or are we in the continuum of developing a mental disorder? So I currently don't have a soft link, but I guess once I get it, I'll share it with Esther. Then it will be shared out so that we do an assessment for ourselves. Hii inaitwa unajiita mkutano, whereby you'll assess yourself. Are you prone to depression? Are you prone to anxiety? Are you even prone to suicide? Are you prone to trauma? Are you prone to using substances in excess? And are you prone to burnout? So the one that I think will be very key in the workplace is to assess yourself for burnout, because it starts from there, because burnout is just excessive stress that has not been taken care of. So we'll be sharing that link with Esther, maybe in the next few minutes, then we'll all have it. So I'll give a quick contact whereby you can easily get help around the clock. So I'll give two contacts. I'll give one that is a toll-free number. Then I will give a contact for the branch that I'm working, that is the Mombasa branch, whereby you'll call in and you'll be assisted with numbers for the other branches. So let me just type in the two numbers, then we see how it goes. Thank you, Esther.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Jay, you're still there. I see you there. I see
I'm still there.
Jennifer has a question. What do you do when you give an opinion and you're castigated for it?
Now, we talked about, part of what we talked about was organizational culture. And as an organization, if you have a culture, being an employee in an organization, depending on the time that you've been in that organization, you need to have an understanding of the organizational culture that you have. You need to understand the supervisors that you have. You need to understand who to approach when you have an issue. There are those people that feel that when you give an opinion, they feel threatened that maybe you're coming in to take their job, or maybe you feel superior than them. So sometimes it's good if it's an opinion that you feel that will improve the efficiency or improve the organizational performance. Get a good way to channel this opinion. I always prefer that. Personally, I always prefer that if you have an opinion that and you feel that your supervisor might be a hindrance to have that opinion castigated, then I would prefer that you can have do this even through an email and copy the superior person in the organization, just to be able to reason with them and prove that whatever opinion that you're putting across will have an impact on the organizational productivity and efficiency. So it's just a matter of proving this to the senior and being able to have it adopted. But if you feel your boss will have an issue, then you need to understand the best way to do this. If it means going through the superior, or maybe going through someone else who you feel that they relate well with the boss, have that opinion considered.
Thank you, Jay. And I will also say this. When you get into an organization, please avoid bringing your previous culture into the new organization. Now, also take time and understand your current boss, because people have different personalities. People just have different ways of doing things. You see, if you come with that mentality and you want to compare Esther with Jay, it might become a bit difficult for you. So it is important for you to also take time and understand your current boss. Understand what is their language, understand what they like and what they don't like. I think that makes your life a bit easier. Understand the culture of the organization, and where you need clarity, just ask, as Jay says. So I don't see any other question, and I hope, let's just go to the chat. I hope you learned something. Maybe possibly type one thing that you learned in the whole session as we close, so that we know that at least it was impactful. And if you would want us to have the session again, we are willing to do that. Networking, good. And let's just type at least, Kevin has a raised hand. Kevin, as the people type, you need to say something.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Mine is more of a question.
Yes.
I'll not compare my former boss with my current boss, but can I compare the work environment?
You can, but I highly doubt if you've gone to two places that are the same. And so you might even go to a place and your expectations are a bit too high. If you're coming from let's say a casual environment, a place where you can, an open door policy where you can even walk into the boss's office, and then you get to another environment where you must pass through 10 people to get to the boss, you will get frustrated, you know. You can, if you're looking for a job, and there's a certain environment that you want, then you need to scan the environment. I keep telling people, go through Glassdoor, talk to people that have left that organization. They have the history. Talk to people inside. I have seen people, if you're working in retail, people can walk into the shops. You can walk into a mall and walk into that shop and just have a conversation with people working there. Sometimes you're able to pick what they are going through. You know, staff just have a way of letting out their stress even on strangers. So if you sometimes engage the people, you will be able to tell, is it a good place for me to come, or is it not a good place to come? Sometimes employees just spill the beans to anyone. So it could be, but comparing the environment, you can, but you might get frustrated unless you're going for NGOs. But private institutions might be a bit difficult. I don't know whether that answers you, Kevin.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
It does, yeah?
Yes.
I see, yeah, I want to just go through networking. I would love to have the session again. This is Sofina says, be observant of the new organizational culture. Thank you for this. Safeguard your mental health 100%. And I will say this a million times, no job, no amount of money, no title is worth your mental health. No job, no title, no amount of money is worth your mental health. If it's not working, if it is draining you and it's crushing you, please just exit. You are better off exiting in your right state of mind than living there and going in, looking for Patrick. You know, you get what I mean? So please, and please normalize conversations around mental health, whether it's in the workplace or in your home, wherever it is, normalize conversations around mental health. One thing I did wrong is bringing another organization culture into my new current workplace. I have learned that the hard way. Glad to hear it mentioned here. Absolutely. You will hear bosses saying, I'm not. It's just like a relationship. Let's be honest. You can't come into a new relationship and say the other person used to do this. I mean, it just triggers anger somewhere. You're comparing me with someone. So please just be careful of that. It will actually frustrate you. And bosses who are on the call, I don't know where people got this shouting thing, you know, shouting at employees, screaming at employees. Now, if you're a boss, you're a manager on the call, learn to manage your own stress. You know, it actually puts you in a bad place as a boss to shout and scream at juniors, and they look at you and they're wondering, you have lost your control. You would need to work hard to gain their respect. So if you feel you're losing it, it is okay for you to take a walk. Then it is okay for you to call off a meeting if you cannot control your temper. It is important. So don't make the environment toxic for others by shouting and screaming at them. Just manage your own issues. Just learn to manage you, especially if you're a leader. I speak a lot to leaders and just manage your anger, manage your temper, manage yourself. It is okay to call off a meeting if you're not in the right state of mind. It is okay for you to just step out and take a walk, breathe in, breathe out, and come back when you're sober. But don't make the environment stressful for other people. We would take time to know your bosses. I would love to have another session. The session was helpful and an eye-opener. Definitely another one is needed, learning the organization and its culture and not comparing. Thank you. We need this again, an engaging session where we share experiences. I agree, Jennifer. For how long should one consider an exit plan? Jay, do you want to answer that? You spoke about the
Yes,
exit, yes.
Yes, I will answer that. Now, I've talked about having a plan, strategize before you exit. And what I mean is that you can take time. I've had so many people come to me and talk to me about having a toxic work environment. What we do is that I will advise that in most cases, unless it is extremely toxic where you can no longer stay, I always urge that you have a plan. And while exiting, you're going to get another job because the ability of getting it's always said, and this is very true. It's a fact that you can easily get a job while you are on another job, than you can get a job while you fully not working. So an exit plan will depend on your network, will depend on your ability now to will depend on how marketable you are based on the documents, job site documents that you have. Now, this will be your CV, this will be your LinkedIn profile, this will be your cover letter. How marketable are they? Are they documents that will get you another job or an interview in the short term? So there's no specific period of having the exit plan, but it will all depend on how you're planning, what strategies you're putting in place to be able now to move to the next job.
Good.
I think I've answered that.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And I know we are out of time. We usually finish at 8. This is live on our YouTube. Feel free to go and rewatch it or share it with your friends and colleagues. Our YouTube again is Conversations with Esther Katiba. Conversations with Esther Katiba. Feel free to follow me as well on LinkedIn as Esther Katiba, and let's continue with the conversation. Esther, can we have a session on self-employment? I feel we are so reliant on employment and white collar. Absolutely, Beatrice. I will plan for that. Sure. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening and please take care of yourself. Remember, self-care is not selfish. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Good evening. Bye.
Bye.